Alright, so hey guys, today we are back with another video. So today I'm going to talk about how to play as Superman in DnD 5th edition. So for your reference, Superman is going to get a movie this year and I am really excited for the direction he's taking. James Gunn is going to be involved for the directing and I think he will get the character right. I hope this will do well. But anyway, this is not the main point. Today I want to talk about how you can play as Superman. So starting, I'm gonna do a level 20 character, and no worries, I'm gonna give you the full character sheet later on. But I think Superman is pretty much maxed out in his abilities, so level 20 is very appropriate. So for his ability scores, I'm gonna do this. So this is basically a points buy system, and I get high strength because Superman is known for his strength, one of the strongest in the universe. Dexterity is also going to be quite high, not as high as the characters like Flash, so it's not going to be too high, but it's going to be good enough. So Constitution, I was thinking of a higher Constitution score, but I remember that Superman actually has quite a lot of weaknesses. For example, Kryptonite, for example, in some iterations, weakness to magic. So I think actually having a lower Constitution in comparison to his other physical scores is appropriate. Intelligence, because Superman actually has super intellect, and wisdom because Superman has a resistance against mental attacks and against psychic attacks. So charisma may surprise you, but I think Superman's charisma is as high as his strength, at least at the beginning, because Superman is known not just by his strength, but because he is the symbol of hope, and charisma is all about the strength of character. So I think this is very appropriate for a character who instills hope to the world and is a leader of a huge association that wants to help people. So moving on to the class, we're going to look at the Divine Soul Sorcerer and the Devotion Paladin. So the reason I started with Divine Soul Sorcerer is because Superman is actually an alien who came from Krypton, and he actually has innate power born from the Kryptonian blood that allows him to get stronger in the sun under the herbs. So in this case, I think Divine Soul is because how Superman is pretty much linked to the sun, and in many iterations, sun is pretty much the mythological equivalent to the gods. And I think Divine Soul is just overall just Superman being a demigod and being very super without a doubt, which is why he's called Superman. So anyway, I choose Intimidation and Persuasion for this class because I think Superman is a very intimidating figure, whether to his allies or his foes, and Persuasion because he is always trying to do better and ask people to be their best self. For the Devotion Paladin, which is going to be the next 11 levels, I choose this because the Devotion Paladin is all about doing the right thing, conducting justice, and just being the moral code in any situation. And I think there is no character that really symbolizes this more appropriately than the Superman character. So I think Devotion Paladin is the way to go. So for those who are interested to see what the Paladin Devotion subclass actually does, I'm going to show you here. So basically, you are going to instill honesty, courage, compassion, honor, and duty. And of course, you are the ideal of justice, virtue, and order. So I was thinking whether I should go for an Ancient Paladin, but I think this will fit perfectly. So moving on to the race, which is now called species, but I'm gonna call it race. So Isomer is the closest thing I can think of aside from the actually canon Kryptonian race, but I think this is the best. And as you can see here of the info, this is also basically a being that descended from celestial origin or with heavenly powers. So I think this is, in terms of the theme, a very good fit for Superman. And of course, for the powers, we can also take a look. I think celestial resistance means more resistance against evil or the sun, and dark vision because of X-ray vision. Healing hands, just a way of symbolizing help from Superman. Light bearer because Superman has his powers from the sun, And here are 3 celestial revelations, so I'm actually not going to choose them because I think depending on the kind of Superman you want to play, you can do different revelations. For example, if you're going for a Injustice Superman, you can go for an Equality Shroud, which will frighten your enemies. If you're going for like a Superman 1 million or All-Star Superman, you can go for Radiant Consumption to burn your enemies. And if you're going just for a classic Superman or a Superman you don't mind having wings, you can go for Radiant Soul to get the ability to just fly. So I think these are very interesting options and they are going to be very good for your build. So for reference, you get your strength up to 16 now and your dexterity up to 14. So we are moving on with the background. So for the background, I think it is a no-brainer. People are going to go for the folk hero most of the time, and you get animal handling and survival. Superman is pretty much the definition of a hero, so I'm not going to elaborate too much here, but this is very thematic as well. So let's move on to the class themselves. So Divine Soul Sorcerer, as you can see from here, I'm gonna open the Sorcerer class spread for you to take a look. Basically, you are starting with spell casting, and spells here are not going to be actual spells in the case of Superman. It's just going to be spells to replicate what Superman can do with his superpowers. So for the Divine Magic, I'm probably going for good, sometimes law, and you can even go for evil if you are playing evil Superman, but this is talking about the classic Superman. So favored by the gods is the ability to just get an extra die to save from saving throws or attack roll. You can do this on a short or long rest, so this is a very good ability. Fonts of Magic, just some sorcery points. Meta Magic, I go for Careful spell because Superman is all about not harming the innocents and avoiding collateral damage. And the Empower spell because his power comes from the sun, and I think having stronger power when he is more determined is a very thematic ability. So of course you can also go for a Distance spell, but I think otherwise these two are going to be the most appropriate for this character. So moving on to the level 6 ability, you get Empowered Healing. So this is not going to be used a lot of times unless you want to heal your friends better, but you do get some extra healing from this. So this is good. And moving on to the ASI, I'm just going to go for +2 in strength both times, and you're getting a 20 in strength now. So moving on to your Sorcerer cantrips, these are going to be more physical representations of what Superman can do. So for example, Firebolt is going to be the hit vision for your build, just a range option. Guidance because you are a beacon of hope that can instill a better direction for your friends. Guts because sometimes Superman can breathe really strongly to blow things away. And Thaumaturgy to change your eye colors basically, and to intimidate your foes when needed. Thunderclap is to basically a hawk situation where you can just clap your hands to create damage. So for the key sorcerer spells here, you can see these are all basically self buffs to increase the power of Superman. So Expeditious Retreat is going to akin to super speed. Hold person or monster in this case is simply just Superman holding the person or monster. And Clairvoyance is his X-ray vision. You can also choose See Invisibility if you think the flavor matches. For Fly, if you are not choosing the Flight Revelation for the Isomer, Fly is pretty much a mandatory spell because this is the most iconic ability Superman has. So Stone Skin is basically a representation of his toughness, even in vulnerability at some times. And Cone of Cold is the best way to do Frost Breath in my opinion, more so than Frostbite the cantrip or Ray of Frost. So we are going to look at the Devotion Paladin next. So as you can see again from this character spread, I'm going to choose Paladin, Devotion, and I think starting with the Divine Sense, that means because Superman is so used to fighting evil that he has a sense where to find these bad guys. So Lay on Hands is just a representation of how he heals people. Divine Smite and honestly just using your melee weapon better and just doing extra damages sometimes when Superman doesn't hold back. This is the gimmick of it. And by the way, you are going to use a weapon in your battles, but you can just flavor it as using unarmed fist like Superman. So for your fighting style, I'm going for protection, because this is what Superman is about, protecting the innocent. Spellcasting, not going to talk too much about it here, but you do get divine health at level 3, so that makes you immune to disease, which is how Superman is. He is not entirely immune, but for most Earth diseases he is immune. So for Sacred Oath, again we talked about devotion already, but you do get some extra spells here, and these are very good spells, especially Beacon of Hope. And we are also looking at Channel Divinities, so Sacred Weapon just increasing your damage, turn the Unholy when you are facing evil. So these are also thematic representations. Moving on to extra attack, we are going for more attacks, and Aura of Protection means that Superman is at the point where he is able to inspire his allies so much that they actually become better. So these are also reflected by the Aura of Devotion, which allows you to not be charmed, and Aura of Courage, which means that you cannot be frightened. So again, these are just mental abilities, and these are quite good in most cases. So at level 11 you get improved Divine Smite here, so that means you get even more damages from radiant damage, and I think radiant damage is a great way to represent how your power comes from the sun, so another layer to why Superman is a paladin. So moving on to the ASI here, you can see I chose Warcaster and Inspiring Leader, but honestly if you want to go for something that is more damaging, you can always go for stuff like Polearm Master, for example, to do more damages. Warcaster, because you are able to use your other features like Hit Vision, or for example Frost Breath instead of your fist, so you have more diversity in combat, but I think these are good abilities to use. So for your level 8 ASI, I think I'm going for Inspiring Leader. Superman is the leader of the Justice League at the more famous aspect of his career, and Inspiring Leader allows you to buff your allies with temporary hit points, so it is a very solid ASI. Now for the key Paladin spells, you get these. So in contrast to the Sorcerer spells, these are going to be more mental oriented. For example, Heroism is the symbolized version of how Superman is a hero. Compel Duo to protect the weak and to fight the big guy. Wrathful Smite when he is angry. And Feisty is actually nice because you can summon a dog, which is Crypto in DC universe, which is basically Superman's pet. Beacon of Hope because he is the Beacon of Hope. And Crusader's Mantle just inspiring his allies to fight better. So I'm gonna show you now the complete spread I have for my character as to if I'm playing Superman how I will build it. So this is the level, this is the ability spread, this is the class and the race and the background. So if you're interested to play my character, you can just pause the screen and mark it down, it's okay. But these are the 9 levels of Sorcerer I choose, and these are the 11 level of Paladin I choose to build. So moving on to the cantrips and spells. These are the Sorcerer cantrips, these are the Sorcerer spells, and these are the Paladin spells. So you can see you have quite a lot of stuff at hand, but I want you to pay focus to here. You actually get a lot of spell slots because of how multi-classing works, and you get up to level 7 spell slots. That means you can upcast your abilities, or you can just simply use Divine Smite with higher level spell slots, which is going to be really impactful in battle. And for your reference, I didn't choose it here, but if you're interested, you can always go for Spirit Guardians. This is less of a thematic choice, but more of an optimizer choice, because for your reference, since you are starting as Sorcerer, that means that in battle, you are going for a medium armor build. Here, as you can see, the Paladin gives you medium armor and shields proficiency, and you are going to use this to stay in the front line sometimes, and you're gonna move around to use Firebolt the other times. And if you are interested to fight more in the front line, of course you can go for Spirit Guardians, but if you are not going for that, you can just go for Fly. I think it really depends on what kind of character you're going for. But overall, I think today you have a good understanding of what Superman does and how to play as Superman in D&D. If you're interested to know more about the character, you can let me know what kind of builds you want to see in the comments. And going forward, if you're interested, I actually want to play Superman the character in Baldur's Gate 3. It's going to be a different character because of how the game works, but I think it will be very interesting to see how Superman plays in that universe. But anyway, this is the video. Thank you so much for listening today, and if you're interested, you can leave a comment or subscribe as long as you like the video or you just want to see more of these topics. And with that said, see you in the next video.